and tell the people that there is a religion out there that is telling us that we don't even have a faith. That will turn around and say that Abraham was a prophet of Islam. Moses was a prophet of Islam. Jesus was never crucified. There was a stunt Jesus. You know, he got taken down, and Allah did some things, and Jesus was a prophet of Islam. They're telling us that right to our faces. And we don't even have religious leaders, except for my dear friend, Reverend O'Neal Dozier. But we have got to make our religious leaders stand and stop selling us to this enemy, leading us like sheep to the slaughter. Because they want to come around and tell us that it's okay. There are good Muslims out there. And I believe that. But the bottom line is that they're not going to stand up until they see us show leadership. Until they see us stand up and say that we are not going to be subject to this radicalization. Until we believe that this is a Judeo-Christian country.
Yes.
Yes.
How is it that we got to the point where we have a president that will go and stand in front of the Turkish National Assembly, go and stand in front of a university in Cairo and say that he does not live in a Judeo-Christian nation, making us slaves to them? How is it that we have a president now that's going to stand up and say that he's going to go into development entrepreneurship in the Muslim world? I don't want Sharia finance to be tied up with the United States of America and our financial systems. 2010 election cycle is the most critical election cycle for the next 40, maybe 50 years for the United States of America. If we continue on, and Nancy Pelosi has the gavel in her hand, if we continue on, and even if Harry Reid loses, someone like a Chuck Schumer steps up, or a Dick Durbin steps up, the United States of America is on the road to perdition. Because we do not have leaders. We have sheep trying to lead lions. See, when Attorney General Eric Holder stood up and said, America is a nation of cowards, he has it totally wrong. America is a nation of brave men and women being led by cowards. To stand in front of his constituents. How can we allow someone like that to be a representative voice? Can you imagine Ron Klein going over and representing us in Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, Egypt, Yemen, Russia, Venezuela? So why do we allow them to exist? This is the challenge. The challenge is, in 2008, congressional approval rating of 21%. The re-election rate for incumbents in 2008, 93%. What do you believe in? What are you going to do in 8 short months from now? Will you? No, I hope so. It's not just about me. Because I said something at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and I said the exact same thing to my soldiers when I deployed my battalion to Iraq. If I fall, it's not about me. It's about each and every one of you finding the capacity to lead within yourself, to understand what this country should mean to you. If West falls, someone else has to step up and take his place.
Yes.
That's the whole purpose of America. That's how this country was established. You know, there was a thing called a color sergeant. Anytime a unit, especially the Civil War, went to charge. And the thing that a commander would always ask of that unit, if he should fall, who will pick up the colors? If I would fall, every doggone one of you need needs to pick up the colors. That is why we must understand who we are in this battlefield on the 21st century, where we sit right now, there is an enemy that is confronting us. There is an enemy that is battling us. They're winning. We have to understand that they are winning. But it's not over. When the Broward County Commission allows CARE to have their fundraising dinner in the convention center, they're winning. When we want to give constitutional rights to illegal enemy combatants, they're winning. When we don't understand, and when we write an after-action report from the Fort Hood tragedy that does not mention terrorists, does not mention jihadists, does not mention Islam, they're winning. When Fox News, 25% of it is controlled by Saudi Prince Tawahid, they're winning.
Yeah.
When we are going around and we have oil and natural gas reserves off the coast of Florida, in North Dakota, all across Colorado, in the ANWR in Alaska, and yet we continue to send money to Saudi Arabia, they're winning. When they can get on television and say that 9/11 was a hoax, that it never happened, and we don't have anyone in our leadership in this country that will say to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, you're a suck-butt fool, they're winning. Selling bumper stickers saying coexist, they're winning. When they're building mosques all across the United States of America, funded by Saudi Arabia, and yet there's not one single church or synagogue that no infidel can go to the city of Mecca,
that's right.
They're winning. Now is the time for us to understand who we are, for us to decide that we want to have the right type of leaders out there in Washington, D.C. That we want to have the right type of leaders in our United States military. Because I have to tell you, I'm absolutely appalled that we don't have generals that are not resigning in mass. That their political careers are more important than the liberty and the safety and the protection of their soldiers. And I've got to tell you something. I get to Washington, D.C., I'm getting on the House Armed Services Committee. And there's going to be a whole bunch of rascals sitting in front of me, and they're going to explain the rules of engagement. They're going to explain to me why Lieutenant Michael Behenna is sitting in Fort Leavenworth jail for 15 years for shooting an Al-Qaeda terrorist. I need you. Don't just come out. Hear Joyce give great speeches. No one can give a great speech like Joyce. Or hear me stand up here and kind of fumble along. I need you to leave here focused. I need you to leave here determined. I need you to leave here committed. I need you to leave here being part of a regiment of American citizens that will never grow tired, never grow weary, that will continue to stand upon the principles upon which this country was established. You know, I have a little video that now has about 2.1 million hits. And there was a word that I said in that video. And that word was bayonets. And a lot of people think that I'm violent because I said the word bayonets. Well, you know, I can be violent. If you pressure me, and if you threaten my country, if you threaten my fellow Americans, if you threaten my family. But bayonets goes back to the second day of Gettysburg. A place called Little Round Top, where an ordinary American, a professor of rhetoric from a college in Maine by the name of Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, stood in command of the 20th Maine Regiment. And on that day, he was told, Colonel Chamberlain, you're holding the far flank of the Army of the Potomac. You cannot surrender this ground.